dependency case that resulted in the entry of a protective order back in, the case started in December. The protective order was entered in February, and we've had a review back in March, and we started a review on the 12th, Monday, and we were not able to finish, and plus the department had filed an emergency motion that was literally filed the Friday afternoon before court. And so that would give the parties time to confirm and about that. And so we're back to try to finish the evidence on the review and the emergency motion. Now you can mute your mics because I need only one person speaking at a time. Please do not, if you hear something you don't like, or maybe you do like, don't speak out until you're recognized. So the only person speaking should be the lawyer asking the question to the witness and the witness then answering. I'm the only one who gets to butt in.
One preliminary matter, Your Honor, that I did want to raise to the court. Apparently, Ms. Green is at her place of employment. There was I guess she works as a hairdresser or something like that. And there was somebody in her chair. Now, I know these hearings are open to the public, but I just wanted to make the court aware of that was not necessarily a private. So I don't know if the court wanted to inquire into that or not.
I'm finished.
Okay. I think that takes care of it.
All right. So I call Ms. Lampton, Your Honor.
Yes.
Sure.
When did you take that case over?
I took the case over in February when I started.
All right, February of this year, right?
Yes.
All right. And I believe you were the case manager for the previous judicial review that we had on this matter back on March 13th of 2023?
Yes.
Okay. Now, with regards to the protective order, this is for the issue of the review that I'm going to be talking about first, and then we'll get into the emergency motion in a second, okay? The mother, Ms. Douglas, was to follow the recommendations from her domestic violence, parental fitness, and psychological evaluations. Has Ms. Douglas done that?
Yes, she has.
Were there any of the recommendations that were from her assessments that she had not completed up till this week?
The recommendations have been completed.
Okay. All right. The next requirement under Ms. Douglas's protective order was that she was to keep the children in their placement with Ms. Edmarie Green and not be permitted to remove the children from that placement without further written order of this court. So let me ask you about that. Did you recently learn that Ms. Douglas and or the children may have left the home of Ms. Green?
Yes.
When did you first get notified of that?
I was first notified in May that Miss Douglas had been staying with a friend with the children.
That she was what now?
Staying with a friend
And that was when?
in May of 2023.
Do you remember when in May?
I don't remember the exact day. I would have to look at my notes.
All right. So when you got that information that Ms. Douglas and the children may have been staying with a friend, did you make contact with Ms. Douglas about that?
I did make contact with Ms. Douglas. I had asked her for the contact information of that friend, and she wasn't willing to give me that information for the friend.
Okay, but who was not willing to give you that information for the friend? Ms. Douglas?
Ms. Douglas.
Okay. But what I'm asking, my question is did you have a conversation with Ms. Douglas, the mother, in May when you found out that she and the children may have left the home of Ms. Green?
Yes, I had a conversation.
Okay. What did Ms. Douglas tell you at that time about why she and the children had left the home?
Ms. Douglas had reported to me that her mother had kicked, the maternal grandmother had kicked her and the children out of the home. And
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm sorry. And when you're saying maternal grandmother, is that Ms. Ed Marie Green?
Yes.
All right. Hang on for 1 second here. And were you able to verify in any way that Ms. Douglas and the children had in fact left the home of Ms. Green? In other words, did you go to Ms. Green's house to see if the children were still there after you had that conversation with Ms. Douglas?
The visits that I had with Ms. Douglas, she would come to the office as she would say that she's not at the home.
All right. Here recently, last week sometime, did the mother disclose to you something different about what had happened with her and the children?
Yes, she had explained to me that mom had in fact only kicked her out. So Miss Green had only kicked Miss Douglas out and that the children could stay in the home.
Okay. Did you contact Ms. Green about that?
I did.
All right. When were you able to make contact with Ms. Green about that?
I was able to make contact with Miss Green on Friday.
Friday of last week?
Yes.
All right. And what did Ms. Green report to you, if anything, about where the mother and the children had been living?
Miss Green had also stated that she had asked Miss Douglas to leave the home, but that the children could stay.
Okay.
Well, tell me, you've learned in early to mid-May that mom and the kids were gone. Why did it take over 2 weeks to get in touch with Ms. Green to find out what was going on?
No, I had spoken, the last time I spoken to Miss Green was last Friday, but I had spoken to her prior to that as well.
To confirm that she had kicked them out or not kicked them out or what?
Yes, to confirm that initial conversation after I had spoken to Miss Green, I had, spoken to Miss Douglas, I had contacted Miss Green and she did say that she had asked Miss Douglas to leave the home.
Okay,
And
because
that she was trying to sell the home.
it sounded like you were saying that just last Friday you found out that Ms. Green only kicked out the mom and not the kids. But you already knew that?
So there was conflicting information from both Ms. Green and Ms. Douglas.
I understand Ms. Green told you she kicked everybody out. I mean, Ms. Douglas said she kicked them all out. But when did you first find out from Ms. Green that that may not be true and that she only kicked the mother out?
I only found out that she had only kicked out just the mother just last week when I had spoken to Ms. Douglas.
But how much time passed from the time mom told you they'd been kicked out before you talked to Ms. Green about what she contended happened? It sounds like it's been 2 or 3 weeks.
No, when I spoke to Ms. Green initially after Ms. Douglas told me that they had been kicked out, that was the same day I had spoken to Ms. Green.
Okay. Well,
at that time, Ms. Green stated that she had asked for Ms. Douglas to leave. She wanted her and the children out because she was trying to sell her home.
Okay, good. My confusion is earlier in response to the question, you said you couldn't remember when in May that you learned that she was not there, which made it sound like it'd been some time had passed. But now, putting what you've said now together, it sounds like you learned last week. Is that right?
No, I learned last week that it was just Miss Douglas that was kicked out.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out, how long it took you to find out that from when you were first told by Ms. Douglas that they all had been kicked out.
So initially I had talked to Miss Green the same day I talked to Miss Douglas. So it was the same day. In that conversation with Miss Green, she stated that she had asked Miss Douglas and the children to leave because she was trying to sell her home.
Okay.
No, 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 no.
Do not interrupt. Do not interrupt. Who's? Mute your mic, please. Do not do that again. I told you at the very beginning, don't interrupt. If that happens again, you won't be in the hearing anymore. You'll get your turn in a few minutes. I'm sorry, maybe I'm missing something, but last Friday was June the 9th. It was not in the month of May. And if you talked to them the same day, how did you find about it in May and then didn't talk to them about it until June?
So when the question was asked about Ms. Douglas reporting to me that she was kicked out, that was in May. I
Okay,
spoke to Ms. Green in May as well about her being kicked out. In that conversation, Ms. Green had reported to me that she had asked Ms. Douglas to leave with the children because they were
Okay.
destroying the home.
all right. So you've had two conversations and Ms. Green relented about the kids and said they could come back last Friday.
Yes, so
Okay.
she clarified with me on Friday that
Okay.
the
But
kids.
she admitted that she initially kicked them all out because she was trying to sell the house.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Scrivonic.
No, Your Honor, that's perfectly fine. It's confusing. So then, now, did you have a follow-up conversation this week with Ms. Green where she told you something else?
Yes, so another conversation was had with Ms. Green in asking Ms. Green if she would be able to take the children while Ms. Douglas was able to get herself together. In that conversation, Ms. Green stated that the department needed to take the children because that would help Ms. Douglas get herself together.
Okay. What did she tell you, though, about where Ms. Douglas and or the children had been living since the middle of May?
She explained to me that the children, when she came home from her vacation, that the children were at her home, but Ms. Douglas was not at the home at the time when she came home. So the children were by themselves at that time. So the children it's been reported that the children have been there and then that the children have not been there to the department.
Now, did Ms. Green report to you of having been out of the country for a period of time when you spoke to her most recently?
Yes,
Where did she tell you she was?
Jamaica.
Did she tell you how long she had been gone?
She did not.
So if, in fact, Ms. Green and the children were back in the home, Ms. Douglas and the children were back in the home, Ms. Green was not there for at least some period of time.
Yes.
All right, let's go back again. At some point after you had spoken in mid-May with Ms. Douglas about her and the children having gotten kicked out, did you have a chance to talk to the children about where they had been living?
Yes, I did get a chance to speak with the children.
What did they tell you?
They had told me initially in that May conversation that they had also been living with a friend of mom's. The friend was mean to them and they did not like being in that home.
Did the children report to you as to having lived in the car with the mother or having spent the night with the mother in the car anywhere?
Yes, so my most recent visit with the kids, they did report to me that they had lived in, or they had slept in the car with mom in a Walmart parking lot.
All right. When was that conversation with the children?
That was on the 6th of May. Of June.
6th, I'm sorry?
The 6th.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did the children report to you during that conversation how many times they had been sleeping in the car in the Walmart parking lot or sleeping in the car anywhere else?
They did not report how many times.
When you had that conversation on June 6th with the children, did they report to you ever having gone back into the home of Ms. Green after having been kicked out in the middle of May?
Yes, they did report that they have been staying with grandma as well, that they had been staying with grandma, that they had been staying with a friend, of mom's friend.
Did they report to you, did the children report to you that when they were in the home of Ms. Green, that Ms. Green was there every time that they were there?
They did not report that.
Did you ask them?
I did ask because I also asked them about the relationship between mom and with Miss Douglas and Miss Green.
Okay. So you asked them, when you were at your grandma's, was she there all the time? And they said no?
I asked them, has grandma been here? And they said grandma's here sometimes.
Okay,
Is the conversation. Yeah.
okay. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. And when you had that, well, let me ask it a little bit more broadly. When you spoke to the children after they had gotten kicked out of the home of Ms. Green, and most recently when you spoke to them on June 6th, did the children report to you any concerns about the way Ms. Douglas, the mother, was behaving?
The children did report that they had noticed or saw mom crying a lot, which were their words. They saw mom crying a lot.
They give you any kind of frequency or how often that may have happened where they witnessed that?
No,
Prior to the mother and the children being asked to leave the home of Ms. Green, had you had an opportunity to go and visit with the family in the home of Ms. Green?
I did.
Did you observe the living area of Ms. Green and the children?
I did.
Did you have any concerns about the living area of Ms. Green and the children during your home visits?
Yes, the area where Miss Douglas and the children were occupying was unorganized and dirty.
After Ms. After Ms. Douglas and the children left or were asked to leave the home in mid-May, did you attempt to reach out and contact Ms. Douglas as to where she and the children were residing?
Yes, I had had conversations with Miss Douglas trying to clarify where she was exactly. And she would only say, like, I'm not in the home. I'm not there. And I would try to get her to tell me where she was. I mentioned the friend, and I said, you know, if I need to have the contact of the friend if the children are there. And she said, well, I won't go there anymore, so you don't have to worry about that. So I never did get any clarity of where she was staying consistently.
Okay. How many different conversations would you say you had from the middle of May till now with Ms. Douglas, where you've asked her to provide you information as to the whereabouts of herself and the children?
Between mid-May, probably 3 or 4 conversations with her.
And until last week, did Ms. Douglas ever tell you anything about the location of the children being in the home of Ms. Green?
Until last week, she told me that, last week she had told me that they were in the home. Prior to that, she was saying that they were with her.
Again, did she ever disclose to you where with her was, like either in a hotel or in an apartment or living with a friend and, you know, an address or anything like that?
No.
Did she ever tell you anything about the kids are with me? We're, you know, sleeping wherever we can?
No, she would just say they're with me.
Okay. All right. During this case, did the department also provide therapeutic services to Ms. Green at some point in time?
Yes.
All right. And was Ms. Green successful in completing those? Hang on. That's okay, Ms. Reynolds, Ms. Schrock. She's not a party, so whatever. Your Honor, just wanted to make sure Ms. Green has apparently dropped off.
Okay.
Question was, I lost my train of thought, but I think my question was, did Ms. Green ever successfully complete the therapeutic services that the department had put into place for her?
She did complete them.
Okay, my understanding was she was discharged due to non-compliance. Is that not correct?
That was for Ms. Green. Ms.
I'm sorry?
Green, that was for Ms. Green.
That's what I was asking.
Oh,
Ms.
okay,
Green.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm getting.
Did I not? If I didn't say that, I apologize, but I meant to ask as to Ms. Green.
Yes, Ms. Green was discharged.
And what was the reason that Ms. Green was discharged?
She stopped engaging in services and stopped responding.
And was that on or about May 8th of this year?
Yes,
All right. Under the initial protective order, the mother was to pursue stable housing and provide the department with proof of her efforts to obtain that housing during every 2 weeks. That was from the initial protective order that was put into place in January. Has the mother ever provided you, since you've been the case manager, Ms. Lampton, with any proof of having obtained her own housing?
no,
During the time that this protective order was in place, did Ms. Douglas provide you with evidence of her efforts to locate housing on her own?
no,
At this time, does the department have any current evidence that Ms. Douglas has housing that is sufficient for herself and the children?
no,
Did Ms. Douglas complete the parenting education services, including the online everyday parenting course?
no, I don't believe she completed those courses.
The next goal was that Ms. Douglas was to obtain and maintain stable employment. What has Ms. Douglas reported to you recently about her employment?
She did report to me that she had quit her job with BP gas station, and that she has been trying to obtain employment, going to job fairs and applying for different jobs.
Okay. Has Ms. Douglas report? Well, let me go back. You said she quit the BP job. What did she tell you about why she quit that job?
She told me she quit the job because she felt like they were going to fire her over something bogus.
Did you inquire any further as to why she thought that?
Yes. So she stated that there was an incident where she was stalking, using a stool, and she got reprimanded by the manager for that.
How long was she employed there? Do you know?
No, I can't remember how long she was employed there.
I think when we were in court in March, she was employed at that particular gas station because we had made that report to the court at the March hearing. Do you know when she quit that job?
That would have been in May.
Had that job roughly at least 2 months at a minimum.
Yes.
What has she told, has Ms. Douglas told you of anything about how she is? You said she's having problems getting employment. What has she told you about what the problems are or the barriers to her getting employment?
Ms. Douglas states that her biggest barrier is because she has a felony record, and it is becoming hard for her to find employment or finding employment that works with this schedule that she needs.
So what, if anything, is Ms. Douglas doing as far as employment since she quit the job at the BP in Locust Grove?
She reports that she does Instacart.
Did she give you any proof as to how much she earns doing Instacart?
No. And she stated that whatever she would be able to provide would not show that she's working 40 hours.
Okay. All right. The next goal, just as I'm going kind of combining these things, but the next goal of her case plan was that her and Ms. Green, the mother, were to allow the department reasonable access to the home and the children up until May, the middle of May, when mother and the children were asked to leave. Had the mother and Ms. Green been compliant with that portion of the case plan?
Yes.
And then the mother and Ms. Green were to cooperate and follow any and all recommendations from the department and return all calls and messages within 24 hours and notify the department of any changes in address and phone numbers. And I think you kind of talked about that already, about the issues of trying to get, where the mother was located and all that. So I'm going to move on then to the next part. In the emergency motion that this department had filed, one of the allegations is that there was an incident involving the mother and her probation officer last Tuesday, I believe, on June 6th of 2023. Did you get some information about the mother having an incident with her probation officer?
Yes, I got an investigation case that had came in regarding mom threatening suicidal ideations while with the probation officer.
Okay.
And what date was that?
The 6th, May 6th. I meant June 6th. Oh, I keep saying that.
June 5th,
June 6th.
6th?
Yeah.
So after you got that report about the mother having suicidal ideations, did you go out and make contact with the mother at some point?
I did. I spoke.
Where did that?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Where did that take place? Where did you make contact with her?
At the grandmother's home.
Okay.
Mhm.
Was Ms. Green in the home?
Ms. Green was not in the home.
Okay. Do you know how mom happened to be in the home on that day?
Mom stated that her brother had let her in. When I arrived to the home, I asked her if Ms. Green knew that she was in the home, and she stated she did know.
She did or did not?
Did.
Okay. All right. Did you have a chance to discuss with Ms. Douglas the concerns that the department had about her having threatened to harm herself?
Yes, so I had spoken with her and asked her what was going on, and she stated that she either wanted to die or go back to jail because of the stressors that she was dealing with.
Okay. And did you attempt to involve mobile crisis as part of that?
I did. I had her to call into GCAL and speak with a clinician.
Okay. And was the mother 1013 as a result of her threats to harm herself?
She was not 1013. However, she was given resources based off of the stressors that she stated she was having.
And who provided those resources to her?
The GCAL clinician.
All right. Did the department also provide any kind of resources to Ms. Douglas?
The department has.
What did you provide?
Based off of the stressors that she provided to me, I did send Ms. Douglas a link to for housing. I also, because it had opened back up, and I had also sent her a job that she could apply for that was a warehouse job due to her stating that she didn't want to work around people. So I did supply her a job for her to apply that would allow her to work there with her background.
So just when you were saying that you gave Ms. Douglas a referral for housing, and had you given that information to her previously as that being a potential referral for her to try to find housing?
Prior to me getting the case, I was told previously that she had been given different resources for jobs and housing.
Okay. All right. And as a result of the mother and the children's whereabouts being unknown, mother having had a crisis situation on June 6th, is the department asking at this time that the protective order in place be modified?
Yes.
And is the department asking that as part of the modification that, well, let me back up before I get to that. Have you verified that the children are in fact in the home of Ms. Green currently?
I have tried to verify if the kids are in the home currently, as I did get another text message from Ms. Douglas late Monday night stating that Ms. Green had kicked her and the children out of the home.
But you've not been able to verify that?
I spoke with Ms. Green that she did not kick her and the children out, that she had only asked Ms. Douglas to clean up behind the children. Ms. Douglas got upset and left with the children. And Ms. Douglas did confirm that she returned back to Ms. Green's home around 1:30, 2 o'clock that morning so that the children could sleep.
But the answer to my question is you have not actually laid eyes on these children in the home of Ms. Green.
No,
Have you attempted to go out to the home of Ms. Green since we were in court on Monday?
I have attempted, I did see them in the home on the 6th. I did contact Ms. Douglas again to meet with her. And at that time, she stated that she was not going to meet with the department because that was a waste of her time.
But again, my question is have you, since Monday of this week, tried to go out to the home of Ms. Green physically to verify that the children are there?
I have.
Okay. And were you not able to get into the home, or what happened?
No, it wasn't that I wasn't able to get in the home. Ms. Douglas was not there at the home.
And was Ms. Green not there either?
Ms. Green wasn't there either. No, I didn't see any cars in the driveway, or I rang the doorbell. No one answered.
So what attempts did you make to try to get into the home? Ring the doorbell, knock the door? Did you do?
Yes, well, I just ring the doorbell.
Okay.
Ring the doorbell, see if anyone comes to the door and answer.
Did you see or hear anything that led you to believe that there might be somebody in the house?
No, I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear the girls. I didn't hear any noise.
So then have you had a conversation with Ms. Green here most recently since the mother reported having left the home and then having returned back with the children about the children remaining in the home with Ms. Green?
In the conversation that I had with Ms. Douglas, she did not state that the children would be living in the home with Ms. Green. In that conversation, Ms. Douglas stated that she was leaving the state of Georgia.
That wasn't my question. My question was, and I know we're getting confused, it's been going on for a while, but my question was, did you have a conversation after this incident on Monday where Ms. Douglas got upset, left the children, then came back home in the early morning hours to Ms. Green's house, apparently sometime early morning yesterday? Have you had a conversation with Ms. Green about whether or not she's willing to keep the children in her home?
Yes, so I did have a conversation with Ms. Green, and she stated that she would be willing to keep the children in her home.
Okay. And is the department asking that the protective order be modified? It says it to some extent, but that the children are to remain in the home of Ms. Green and not be removed from that home until there is a written order of the court.
Yes, that's correct.
Are you also asking that the mother undergo a psychiatric assessment, which I got from Ms. Reynolds just a little while ago, but is the department asking for the mother undergo a psychiatric evaluation?
Yes.
And follow the recommendations, if any, from that?
Yes.
All right.
Didn't you tell me earlier that this week Ms. Green told you that they needed to go to defects custody?
No, Your Honor. That was the staffing that the department was going to have to determine whether or not they were going to ask for removal. It is my understanding, and Ms. Reynolds can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but that the department had spoken with Ms. Green, who was indicating she was willing to allow the children to remain in her home, and that at this time that the removal of the children from the custody of the mother was not warranted.
But I thought that the witness testified earlier that the grandmother during sometime since last Friday told the department that the department should take custody so mom could get the help she needed. She said, somebody said that. Who was it? If it wasn't Ms. Green. Did you tell me that earlier?
Yes.
Yeah. And when did she tell you that?
She told me that when I had spoken to her on Friday.
Okay, so she's changed her mind now. Monday, she says they can stay. How about, can mom stay, or does mom have to stay out?
No, so she will keep the children, but mom has to leave.
Okay.
Should I continue, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay. And then are you asking that the mother attend and complete parenting services and individual therapy as may be recommended for her?
Yes.
There's also a request that the mother is to obtain, to provide proof of her income, which is already part of the protective order that's in place. But then the department had also made a request for therapeutic services for the children. What do those encompass?
A BA for the children to work with mom and the children on addressing behaviors and things like that.
How are they going to work with mom and the children if mom's not in the home?
Well, initially, that's what we were going for as far as trying to get the services for the children to address behavior. So that would be with, at this time, if they go in the home with Ms. Green, that would be with
Okay.
Ms. Green.
All right. And
And
Ms.
Your Honor, I
Green,
think that if the court were to modify the protective order and to include that, what I think normally we would anticipate happening is that if the mother undergoes her assessments and her therapy, at some point in time, there being unsupervised visits or something like that, or the mother may be allowed back in the home of Ms. Green, where you could potentially put those behavioral aid services into place.
okay. And Ms. Green would be expected to participate in the behavior aids.
I have not.
Go ahead.
And Ms. Green is apparently back on the Zoom. Your
Yeah,
Honor.
I've tried to say,
Is there anything else that the department was asking for from Ms. Douglas in this case, other than what we've discussed up till now?
No.
And I just want to clarify, you said that the mother reported to you recently that she was on her way to New York?
Yes.
Okay, do you even know if Ms. Douglas is in the state of Georgia currently? Because right now her Zoom is on a call in a car. Do you know where she is currently?
In that conversation, and to answer that question, no, I don't know if she's in the state. But in the conversation that we had regarding her going to New York, she stated that she was reaching out to her father that lives in New York to see if she could go with him, live with him in New York. And if that was not the case, that she was still leaving the state of Georgia and going to a different state.
So what was her plan with regards to the children? I mean, you know, how is she going to work her protective order if she moves to New York? Did you have that discussion with her at all?
I did have a discussion with her on her plan as far as actually, what does that look like as far as having the kids and daycare and work? And she didn't have a plan leaving.
I don't believe I have any other questions for Ms. Lampton, Your Honor.
Ms. Crane,
No, Your Honor, no questions.
Ms. Schrock,
No, sir, no questions.
do you have any other witnesses, Mr. Skowronek?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Crane, do you have any witnesses?
Oh, let me, Your Honor, can I back that up for 1 second? I do need to ask Ms. Green just a couple of questions.
Okay. Can you turn your angle your camera just a little? Yeah, there you go. I could only see the very top of your head. Thank you. All right, go ahead, Mr. Skowronek.
And you are the maternal grandmother. You're Ms. Douglas's mother.
Yes, sir.
Where are the children currently?
I have no idea.
Did you report to the Department of Family and Children's Services that the Ms. Douglas had brought the children back to your home early Tuesday morning, late Monday night?
Yes, when I talked to the lady, I told her when I came out, I seen the car back in the driveway.
And were the children in the home?
Yes, they be in the room. Mhm.
Okay. When did the children leave your home?
So anywhere from yesterday when I went to work, when I came to work, because they wasn't back in the home last night.
So when you went to work yesterday, were the children and Ms. Douglas in your home?
Yes, sir.
Have you heard from Ms. Douglas at all since yesterday about where she and the children are?
No, sir, I don't never hear from her. She don't talk to me.
If Ms. Douglas were to return the children back to your home, would you be willing to allow the children and not Ms. Douglas to remain in your home while Ms. Douglas tries to get herself situated?
The kids can come, but she cannot come back.
So you would be willing to have the children in home?
Yes, sir.
I don't think I have anything else for Ms. Green, Your Honor. That was what I just wanted to clarify.
Anybody have any questions for Ms. Green, Ms. Schrock, or Ms. Crane?
No, Your Honor.
No, sir.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Skowronek?
Nope, that's it, Your Honor.
Ms. Crane, you said you had no witnesses?
Well, Your Honor, I don't believe I do. I'm actually a little confused because when we were here last time, I had a brief conference with the department, and I thought that we were coming back today because the department needed to know how to proceed based on what I told them. I'm not really sure how we're proceeding at this point.
Sounds like they're seeking a modification of the existing protective order and continuing jurisdiction with the court. That's
Yeah, I understand that part. I think there was some question as to whether these children were going to be taken into care, and I was kind of waiting to see if that was happening.
Well, that was mentioned by Ms. Green, according to the case manager, but it sounds to me like the department wants to beef up and modify its protective order to avoid having to seek removal at this time. I don't know. Is your client asking
and Your
them to
Honor.
remove the children?
Your Honor, I'm just, as far as I understood yesterday, I don't believe that my client is interested in continuing services with the department. She said that what the emergency motion had requested that she reveal the location of the children and that she continued to cooperate with the department. It's my understanding she does not want to cooperate with the department and that she's told them that the children are living with Ms. Green, which to me sounds like we're not really sure if they are or not. And so that is why I'm confused, because if the mother is not going to participate in services, I'm not sure what the department is doing.
Well, I had planned to ask Mom what her intentions were when we got to a point, but I wanted to see if you had any witnesses, either your own client or anybody else you wanted me to hear from.
I don't believe so at this time, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Schrock, you were starting to say something?
It just sounded like we were kind of maybe getting to the point that we were wrapping up. And I just wanted to be sure to step in to say that I wanted to be heard on, I know what the department is asking for, but I just wanted to be sure that I would have the opportunity to weigh in on what, my recommendation is for the children.
But before you give me that, why don't we've got the Ms. Green just testified and she's told us what she would like to do. She brought her, she said Ms. Johnson is her sister. I don't know what she has, but she's been here the whole time. And Ms. Benz, I'm not sure I ever got the relationship with Ms. Benz, but we supposedly got her audio working. So let me see if they have anything to be of help to us. Ms. Johnson?
Leave the door, please. Okay, this thing been going on for a very long time. It's not to say we want her to be without her little girls. 3 little girls, it's a girl family. But she has lived with me before with them. She has lived with my mother before with them. And the main issue is cleanliness. Ain't nobody asking her to be super clean, but anywhere you live, you got to clean up after yourself. If you cannot contribute financially, we're here to help her financially. But she needs to be stable. She needs an evaluation to find out what's going on with her. I'm not saying she don't love her kids. She loves her kids, but she can't care for them the right and proper way. You need to provide for them. You need to keep them safe. These are little girls. You can't have them all over the place. Can you just imagine their story that they're going to tell later on in life? And she's the one, we're willing to help, but we cannot help with her. Keep coming back and traumatizing them.
Thank you. How
No,
about
sir.
Ms. Benz? Did you want to share something relevant to the case?
Yes, sir.
Are you related to Ms. Douglas and the children?
Yes, I'm Miss Douglas' grandma, the children great grandma.
Okay.
I'm Miss Green mom.
Okay.
And the time before the last time when she was in jail, I got the kids and I was taking care of them. I was training them in the right way. And she came out of jail and asked me if she could stay there with me. So after they had lifted her probation where she could see the kids, I told her yes, because the kids, they love her and they misses her. So I let her come to my home. But I said to her, only one thing I'm asking of you, please keep the room that you and the kids are in clean. And when you use dishes, wash them. You don't have to do nothing else. Just keep the room clean and the kitchen. When you use anything, just wash it. Because as I use anything, I wash them. And she came and she kept that room like a pigsty. And I didn't say nothing. I said, I'm watching, you know. And I watched till like about 6 weeks. And I couldn't take it no more. The place was so nasty. It was stinking. So I said to her nicely, I said, Kenesha, could you please clean up the room? I will help you. The girls will help you because I've been training them to clean up, and they were doing it. She undo everything I did. She cussed me up and took the kids and left. Every time you talk to her about cleaning up, she cuss you off and take the kids and leave. And then she tell people that you put her out. You tell her to leave. And, you know, everywhere she goes, she's just nasty. She leaves a trail of mess behind her. And that's why she can't have a job. That's why she can't have no apartment, because they put her out after a while. The jobs, why she can't keep a job? She is stink. She don't take showers. And nobody want to be around her. Nobody want to smell her. She is not telling you all the truth. Her mother.
Miss Benz. Miss
Yes,
Benz.
sir.
Please don't yell. We can hear you. But listen, how long ago was that when she left your house?
She left last year, May 19th. May 19th of last year, 2022.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Anything else?
She needs help. I don't know what's wrong with her. Mentally, she needs help. And then she always threatened to hurt herself. Always been doing that.
Well, those are, I'm not a doctor, but those can very well be serious signs of mental illness, the hygiene issues, the depression, the hopelessness, all those things there are things that can be done. She's got to
Right.
help. But anyway, thank you for sharing with us. Did anybody have any questions for Ms. Benz about what she's told us?
No, Your Honor.
I would just ask for the court to make inquiry as to Ms. Douglas, Your Honor. Number one, is where the children are, and number two, if she's willing to bring the children back to the home of Ms. Green.
Ms. Douglas, I can't see you. I don't know if I'm looking at a light fixture or a roof or.
Car seat.
Oh, it's the upholstery in your car. I'm sorry. I couldn't tell what it was. What did you want me to know about your case, Ms. Douglas?
Basically, all these folks are lying because my mom just kicked us out Wednesday, and she, like, my kids just went to the bathroom, but you can ask them. She definitely just kicked all of us out. She said, "Oh, it's dirty in here. All of y'all need to go."
Wait a minute. Wednesday.
And then-
Today's Wednesday. Are you talking about?
Sorry. The day before or whatever. But I do make them clean up every time after their self. Like, you can ask them. Like, you can ask my kids. I make them clean up every
Are the
time
kids
after
with you
their self. I
now?
don't want to hear nobody. Yes.
All three of them are in the car with you?
Yes.
Where are you?
In the car
I know, but where's the car?
at a gas station.
Is it in Henry County?
No, it's not.
What county is it in?
I don't know this county. It's not in Georgia.
Okay. Well, were you planning to bring the children back to Ms. Green's house? Like you
No, because why would I bring the children back if my mom wants them to go to DFACS? Because if she keeps kicking us out, me by myself, my kids included, whatever, I'm pretty sure she'll take them to have y'all pick them up or whatever. So I'm not doing that. Yeah, like, and whatever my grandma was talking about is false, because she came and attacked me with the Alka-Seltzer bottle, like came to fight me. And it's no, I've never said I'm going to harm myself. I still have yet to say that I'm going to harm myself. So all of these folks are lying. That's why I don't talk to them. Like you heard my mom say, I don't talk to her. I do not talk to them because they are full of shit. Really, I'm sorry. Excuse my language. All of them. Like, I'm sorry. But yeah, they're all full of BS.
Well, if you've never threatened to harm yourself, How did you end up talking to the crisis intervention people?
Because I said I wanted somebody like the cops to shoot me or something. That's what I said.
Well, isn't that suicide by
That's not
cop?
Nope, that's homicide. But anyway,
No,
if
that's
my
not what
family
they
was
call it.
here, if my family was here for me, why is this my first time hearing it? Because I have yet to hear, oh, you can come to me for help. You can do it. No, like it's no help in this family. They're all for themselves. They all have their own problem. Everybody in this family needs mental evaluation because one's alcoholic, one's a fake Christian. Like it's no good in this family. That's why I'm like this, because you see this generation above me is horrible in themselves. I don't know. Like it's all BS. Like I make my kids clean up after they like probably not the room, but I'll still straighten up the room. But the living room and the kitchen, every day I'm telling my kids, clean up after yourself. I do not want to hear grandma's mouth. I don't want to hear her husband's mouth. So I do make them clean up after themselves every day, and I do clean up with them. So that is false. Like it's a lot of lies, and I really don't want to deal with it. Like I don't want to go to therapy. Therapy is not helping. Therapy, it's not even therapy, it's anger management. And they're constantly telling me, oh, what you're thinking is wrong. Oh, you need a relationship with your family. No, this family is toxic, dysfunctional. Like there's other suicidal people in this family. So exactly. Like it's a lot. So no, I'm not listening to all of these lies. Like, and then I'm not gonna have my children with my mom because I'm actually struggling to be with my kids. I can't work like I want to. I want a warehouse job, but I'm doing Instacart and Uber Eats with them because I need to make money to feed them. Like, no, all this stuff is lies. Like,
How are you doing Instacart driving up
like,
the highway and sitting in a parking lot
you
at a
said what?
gas station? How are you doing Instacart with your kids in the car?
Instacart is worldwide.
I'm sorry?
It's worldwide.
It's worldwide. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So where you are now, you're doing Instacart? You got groceries in the car to deliver now?
No, I'm not doing anything because I have to be on here with y'all. Y'all said I can't drive around, so I have to stay still, which is a waste of time. Like I told whatever the defects lady name, I'm not doing therapy because that's a waste of time. I have to stop what I'm doing it's stopping me from making money, which I need to provide for my children. Like,
So how much money do you have now?
I mean, my account is still in the negative, but it's enough to provide gas and food for my kids. And I'm getting a room today.
If it's negative, how can it provide anything?
Because it's a spot me. It's time, so I can still use it while it's negative. Like I think it's a negative balance of like 160 I can use. Well, I can still use the money, but it's still going to be negative until I pay it back. But,
okay, I don't understand
all.
that. Is that a credit card?
No, it's a debit card.
Is it a food stamp? Not
No,
food, they don't call it.
it's time. It's a bank.
Okay.
It's a bank card. But you can ask my children. My egg donor definitely kicked all of us out. Said y'all all need to get out. Like it's full of lies. And then she's moving next week, like she claims. So where are they going to be then? Like,
well, I'm more concerned about where you and your kids are going to be.
We're fine. They're more fine with me than they're fine with these other folks. I can tell you that.
Well, I don't think they're fine with you, unfortunately, Miss Douglas.
Well, I'm sorry to hear it. But...
Our conversation has convinced me even more so that you're in desperate need of assistance, financial assistance, emotional assistance, and
I need some financial assistance. That's what I need. Like my mom said she was going to get a place in her name for me, help pay half the rent or whatever. Then when I asked her, oh no, I think you need to do all this first. Like it's always like that. I come ask for help. So what?
Somebody's got some interference. Mute your mics, please.
I try to come ask for help to get a place because I know a place is required to close this case.
But we're not ready to close this case.
It's no help.
Ms. Douglas, we're not ready to close this case. So.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not.
All right. Appreciate you sharing with me.
Mm-hmm. And you can talk to my kids if you need to, because they could tell you how they was right there when my grandma came attacking me, because we were definitely cleaning the room. Like, y'all talking about cleanliness. I clean up after them. It's not how y'all want it to be clean, probably, but I definitely clean. Like, I'm really not understanding. Here you go.
All right. Ms. Schrock, did you want to be heard?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to give my recommendation when the court was ready for that.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, I'm very concerned about these children. We don't know the whereabouts of the children. She stated she is no longer in the state of Georgia, but stated that she's unwilling to divulge her location and the children's location. That, of course, I think gives everybody great concern. These children are 5, 8, and 9 years old. We've heard evidence that mom is continuing to have challenges with her mental health, her stability. We have had a protective order in this case, and the protective order is very lengthy and has, several requirements under it. One of the most important requirements under the protective order was that the mother was not to remove the children from the grandmother's home, which she has done in blatant violation of the protective order. I don't think this protective order is meeting the needs of the children at this time, and the children need to come into the custody of the department. They need to be in DFACS custody, and the mother needs to immediately divulge her whereabouts to the agency.
Okay. Anybody else wish to be heard?
Your Honor, the department cannot take custody of children. We don't know where these kids are. We have no way to take custody of these children at this time. The department is not asking for custody. We are asking for Ms. Douglas to bring the children back so that Ms. Green, again, can assist the mother by caring for the children while Ms. Douglas gets situated, gets housing, gets her a job, whatever it is that she needs to do, and that she addresses her mental health needs so that she can have these children back with her as soon as possible. But as far as custody, Your Honor, no, the department is not asking for that, and I don't believe that would be appropriate for this court to award custody of children to the department where the whereabouts of the children, the whereabouts of the mother are unknown, and the mother has reported she's no longer even in this state. We would have no way to take custody of these children with their whereabouts being unknown.
Anything else? The court will modify.
Well, let me just add, Your Honor, that the mother, through her counsel and also through her testimony, has reported she's no longer willing to work services with the department. So I don't know what of benefit the protective order is going to be when mom is saying she's no longer willing to work with services.
Well, my response to that, Ms. Schrock, would be that if she's not willing to work a protective order, why would she be willing to work a case plan to achieve reunification? They're basically part and parcel of the same thing. Needs to get custody of children back, and this is the way we can do it with the least amount of restrictions on Ms. Douglas, and that again, with the whereabouts being unknown, we don't have any way to even take custody of these children.
All right. Court's going to modify the protective order in the particulars spelled out by counsel for the petitioner, DFACS. Court is going to give the mother 24 hours to return the children to the home of Ms. Green. Her failing to do that, I will enter an order awarding temporary custody of the children to the department, and they will take reasonable steps necessary to locate and retrieve the children.
And if I do that and they have to go to DFACS, or my mom brings them to DFACS, then what?
Then we'll have another hearing if Ms. Green.
So basically, y'all want me to give up my kids.
I want you to bring it back to your mother.
My kid's not going for it. I'm not going for it. I respectfully decline. You can do whatever you try to do. Like I told the caseworker, y'all gonna have to catch me, because that's not happening. My kids are not going without me. I don't care how y'all feel, mentally stable, mentally not stable. Y'all gonna have to catch me, because that's not happening.
Stable, and we want to help you get stable. We want you to be the parent.
Therapy is not helping. Just make me stable by giving me some money. Y'all
I'm
not
not
doing that.
talking
So
about, we don't have any money. to give
when I
you or
pop back
any
up
other
with a
company.
house and all that, then it'll be cool. But
Ms. Douglas, we
yeah.
don't have money to hand out to anybody, unfortunately.
exactly.
It would
So
help, but we don't. But we have
I know.
services, and not talking about therapy. We need to get a handle on,
because all these services
What?
are not helping.
we're through with the hearing. You won't let me talk. You keep interrupting me. So y'all take care, and you can send me an order to that effect. That's the ruling of the court.